Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, and thank you very much everyone for coming. So, firstly, I would appreciate if we can move forward. The purpose of this session is to basically have people interested in space to talk about space and educate more about space. So please let's all move a little to the front, and then I will welcome Daniel, who is the executive director of World Space of of Africa Space Foundation, to the opening address. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope all having a wonderful day. Thank you all for being here. So I am representing Mr. Ayotunde Fasanya, who is Director General of the Africa Space Foundation. He's unfortunately unable to be here at a specific point in time. So I will be the welcome address. So my name is Daniel Gasimbatu, and I am the Executive Director of the Africa Space Foundation. We're a non-profit organization based in Nigeria, and we operate in Egypt, Kenya, and Zimbabwe. And our goal is essentially to promote space science and technology for children, all the way from primary school, junior secondary school, senior secondary school, up until the university level. Now, first of all, I'd like to say that please can we just give a round of applause to the team and all the organizers that made this possible. A lot of work has gone into this, months of planning and months of hard work, a lot of late night meetings to finally make this possible. So this event is a collaboration between the African Space Foundation, the African University for Space Science and Technology, for Science and Technology, OASIS, and Space Futures Forum, which is duly represented by Dr. Claire Nelson. So she's one of our partners, and I would say she's one in the event. So Dr. Claire, if you wouldn't mind just stepping up a bit. Dr. Claire? Dr. Claire, do you mind just coming up? Yeah. Yes. All right. So all of this would not have been possible without Dr. Claire's support. She is essentially the mastermind of everything that you see. This event is an event we call Space Ungana. It's an international event held every year. It is hosted by Dr. Claire, right? And this is one for now. For now.
Soon you guys will be taking it.
All right. Okay, so this is a sub-event under that with a focus for kids, right? So this couldn't have been possible without you, and thank you so much for all the hard work you put into this.
Thank
I
you.
know inviting us to come on board.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Tun. Okay, one second.
So, folks, thanks again for coming. We're really excited. Again, thank you to during this partnership with the African University of Science and Technology. The president will soon be here, and I'm delighted that so many students are here. How many of you are students on this campus? Any of you? A couple of you. Are you students? Kind of ish? Business school? In the back, engineers? Who is an engineer here? All right, who's in ICT? All right, excellent. So all of you are definitely going to be involved at some level in some space or space adjacent. Now, we heard from some of the younger ones that they are interested in space, but we see their parents here. You have children that say they're interested in sciences. Since I want just two? Is your child interested in sciences? No? What about your interested in sciences? That's your daughter? And you are? Another daughter? Yes? And you're interested in sciences? Okay? So why are you here? You just like the moon?
They're cousins.
You came with?
They're cousins.
Ah. Oh, you came to support Daniel. How wonderful. So you came because you know he wants to be an astronaut. All right. Okay, but still, you all look about the moon, right? Do you, any of you are a writer? Any writers? Business people? Journalists? Healthcare?
Mental health.
Not mental health? All right. Do you know that even in space is a role for people in mental health?
Okay.
You understand? You understand that when people have to travel distances and be by themselves in small enclosed spaces, that could be a mental problem. So almost everything you do has a relevance in the space sector, right? Who is the writer? This young lady? What do you write? Anything? Stories? Poetry? All right, so tomorrow night we have our own mic night, so get ready to perform your poetry, right? Again, the moon has been the subject of so many songs and poems, etc. And believe it or not, one of the things we want to do at Space and Ghana in our community is ensure we begin to gather the stories about the moon that are African in origin, right? Because there's an assumption that because we all went to the British colonial system of education, that all the stars have Greek names and Latin names. But some of these stars have Yoruba names and Swahili names and Zulu names. And we want to begin to capture that as part of the African story. So whether or not you think you're interested in science and rockets, kind of because we look at the moon every day, especially Madam Writer, we need to have you thinking about what does it mean for Nigeria and Africa to be in the spacefaring economy? What does it mean as a young writer, especially going to go into journalism, when you hear stories about maybe a few people will own the moon or they will own all the minerals on the moon? How does that make you feel? What is your response as a young Nigerian, young African, when you hear the ministry spending all this money in space when there's still potholes on the road to be fixed? That's going to be the subject of our debate this afternoon at 12 o'clock. So, Daniel, I give the floor back to you.
All right. Thank you so much for the very enlightening opening, Dr. Club. All right. So as she said, we have a lot of events to look forward to for the rest of today. So by 12 o'clock, we're going to be having a debate between SGAC, the Space Generation Advisory Council, and NSBE, the National Society for Black Engineers. And they're going to be talking a bit more about space law and space policy and the importance that it has on the African continent and its future. So that's going to be happening around 12, I think 12:30. We'll be heading into that. But before that, we'll be heading into breakout rooms out in the next few minutes as well, where each team, each grade level, will be assigned certain tasks. It is suited specifically for adults and university students. That will be happening tomorrow, a bonfire from, I believe, around 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. All right. So I think with that, we can move on.
So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Daniel. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, somebody wants to say something.
I would just love to applaud Daniel and you as two young people who have such passion and commitment and to this process, but also your interest and your ability to inspire Dr. Nelson to really engage with you and partner with you. She speaks so highly of you both, and she is so excited by this partnership that I would just like to ask everybody to just put their hands together for Daniel.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sutton. Really appreciate it. So, just before the president of African University of Science and Technology comes up, I think I would hand over the mic to Dr. Claire to say one or two words again just before he comes up. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so did everybody say, well, you were not here and you say you have no purpose here in space. But we heard from this young lady in particular. What's her name? What's your name again?
Charlotte.
Charlotte?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. So Charlotte was very articulate in voicing her dream, but we have some new young people who have come in. Maybe Charlotte, you'd like to go again so that they can hear what you said, give them some inspiration so that they can then see if they have any ideas about how they see themselves. We were quite impressed, by the way. Take it back to her. So you young, what you have just come, what is to think about what you're gonna be in 10 years? Right? And so Charlotte, what she said, and then when I did what we're looking for.
My name is Charlotte Nelson, and I would like to help astronauts and astronomers. I would also like to study the solar system, like finding more stars, more planets, and dwarf planets.
Wow.
Okay, so when you hear her say that, please, any of these young ladies in your class at school, no? All right. Any of you want to talk in? Yes.
The new ones, the new ones who came in.
This young lady. So who would have been sort of camera turns on you? Yeah, when you hold it, it turns on you, yes.
I want to discover more dwarf stars, like the sun is considered a dwarf star because there are millions of more stars that are bigger than the sun.
All right. What were they in high school or elementary school? All right.
Just, you just gone into high school. Just entered.
I'm still in middle school.
Huh? Middle school. Oh. Maybe.
Just
When you hold the camera, see, science is very interesting. I know you're studying general science. And everybody's talking about robotics and robotics. All right, so that thing you're holding, it has a signal like our phone has a signal, and it goes to this machine. So when you hold it, the machine turns towards you. Is that wonderful? So can you imagine if you got lost and you had one of those and your mom had something in her phone? Check over there for any more, right? Exactly. Go ahead.
I would like to explore the solar system and find more planets.
So we have a lot of people who are in this stuff. Even you might not know. And you're gonna have to get
Yes.
now who here?
I would also like to be a doctor at health institutes.
Speak up.
Be louder. Okay, I would like to be a doctor and help people in space.
Yeah, doctor.
Oh, wonderful. That's a big issue. Because you know our bodies are very different in space. So the whole body of work called space medicine. Now, I'm sure the Nigerian Space Research Department has not yet talked about space medicine, but it's good that we have one person here talking about space medicine, because that's getting an important element of spending Nigeria's national campaign. So, what we're doing here So what we're doing here, is trying to establish something called the Omni Africa Space Exploration Analog Simulation. And the vision is to have a simulation of industrial planting here in Nigeria. I'm sure you're all heard of the Mars Research Station in the US, or Lunaris, which is the destination in Poland. There is Astrolab in Spain. There is another group in Hawaii, High Seas, of research stations that will allow all of you in this room to find your place in space. One of the what do you call it? One of the ethos by which we want to ensure that the AU 2063 vision is enabled, and that young lady in 2063, she's 10 now, so that's how many years? Almost 40 years. She'll be 50, right? So she's still fairly young. Is to ensure that Africa is not left behind. And analog research is one of the most affordable ways to get a seat at the table, right? So the young lady who wants to talk about being medicine, she can find a space at the table. Mom who here is into mental health, you can find a space at the table, because when we start doing analog research camps, and we say, and some of these young people over here say, listen, we want to go out into the cave and stay for 2 weeks in the dark and have to figure out how to live on dry food for, that's what will happen in real life in Mars. And they go stir crazy. They have to have somebody coaching them, studying them to see, are they suitable to be an astronaut? So it takes training, it takes strong personalities, it takes determination, it takes physical fitness, it takes emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence to be active as an astronaut in space, because of the isolation and the difficulty and the ability you have to work with people. Imagine there are 4 of you or 5 of you on a spacecraft or on an analog station, and you are required to keep yourself alive in a hostile environment where if the machine isn't working, you cannot breathe. If the machine isn't working, you won't have any water. If the machine is not working, you have no food. Remember the astronauts who were stranded for 9 months in the ISS earlier this year? Remember that? Suppose they never had the personality to be present. How would they have been able to manage that? So this is part of the challenge of being in space. Now we have then, I want to see on the young people side, those of you who have, anybody has a piece of paper? Or you have a piece of paper? Yeah, a writing paper. So give me some writing paper, and we want to go by classes. So if you are, say, between grade 5 and 6, are you more or less in the same 5, 6, and 7? Most of you here? Right, and then the junior ones do something together. I think I gave somebody some crayons. We have more of those for the babies. And then the older ones, well, it must be 5, 6, 7. Here, who are not yet space advocates, we're going to turn into space advocates. We want you to think about on some paper too. You're a writer. What do you think about writing a short, maybe 150 word, maybe poetry, since you like poetry, about how you feel about the moon. We're celebrating International Moon Day. How do you feel about the idea that people are going to settle the moon? Are you comfortable with it? Are you uncomfortable with it? It doesn't matter. I mean, you don't have to try to please anybody. Because what we really want is to have honest debate in this country about what it is people want to have happen. On this side, and all of you who are not in the space yet can think about that question. On this side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna have mini groups, 2 mini groups, and depends. So you're in ICT. So we have the ICT in one group and then we have the engineers in one group for right now, right? Now, as you think about MOAN, your challenge as the ICT group is to think about a new app that you could begin to create to help, let's say that Nigeria does have an astronaut, right? That goes to the moon. What app could you create that would allow that astronaut to be in constant connection with the Nigerians who are following that astronaut's 7-day journey to space, right? And then for the engineers, I want to think about how are you going to support Nigeria Space Research Agency in developing a spacesuit? A spacesuit. Right? So you have 15 minutes, everybody. 15 minutes to do that work, and I have prizes for those who participate. Okay, so the ICT people, I think one or two people here say you want to be an astronaut. So it might sound like a far-fetched dream, but you're young enough to actually see this come to pass, but not just see this come to pass, you're actually here to help make this come to pass, right? This is not a passive dream. We're here to help people see that when you say you want to do something, you actually can go out and create it. So your first thought experiment as ICT people, assume there is an astronaut 10 years from now. How would you as a group create some kind of application that would allow that Nigerian astronaut to speak to the Nigerian people, all the Nigerian people? What would it have? What would it do? Is there some specific things that Nigerians would want to know? Because your culture is different from what the Americans would want to know about their people. So you have to create something specific for the Nigerian astronaut to talk to Nigerians, separate and apart from what they may have to do as part of an international mission. So what is that thing and how will it work? For the engineers, the Nigerian astronaut shouldn't have to go and buy a spacesuit from some other company. We're talking 10 years from now, by then Nigeria should have built a spacesuit. So I want you to think about what would have to happen and how would you begin the task of building a spacesuit. Right? Ready? All right. What time is it? 12:07. All right. So you have time to work until the president gets here. We'll take a break then. And I think by then the debate should be ready to be started. By 12:30, right? Right. No, is he coming right now? Let's get started anyway. So go off into small groups. So the ICE people go in the back, engineers stay in the front, and the children who are the same age group, and you will work independently. All right? And then when the president gets here, we'll take a break, and then I think we'll go into the debate after that. These ones? Okay. Let me go back down here. All right. So I need to know what they're doing in school to know what I can get them to do. So let me go and talk to them.
6 and 7.
Okay. So what are you doing in science right now?
In our school?
Yes. What do they teach you about?
It was about.
Are you doing biology? Are you doing geography? What are you doing?
The last I learned was mitosis and meiosis.
Hmm?
The last thing I learned in science was mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis and meiosis? Yeah.
What is that?
What is that? Mitosis.
What's
That's the circle of the
Huh?
Oh, the sperm and the egg that birth.
Okay.
Okay. And what did you learn?
The solar system.
What are you learning now?
And Steve, protect your voice. I don't think you're louder than that. What you're learning in science at school? Electricity?
Oh, all right, fabulous. All right. So have you ever thought electricity and the solar system? So have you ever thought, you said you want to discover planets and those things? When you grow up, you think you want to work in computers? Do you want to work in computers, or do you want to work like in a research lab? Or you want to work with many people?
Research lab.
Research lab?
Research lab.
Okay. But all of you said you want to discover something, right? Okay. So what I want you to think about is a telescope, right? You know how a telescope works?
Yeah.
Or is that too hard? You can do that? You think that's too hard?
Draw it.
You can draw it,
Describe it.
or you can describe it. But more importantly, when you talk about what are you using it to do? It doesn't matter if it's accurate, because what I want you to do is to begin to imagine. The most powerful tool you have in order to make your life better is an imagination. So what I would like you to do is write a story, right? In which you can imagine now, let's say you all end up going to college and you'll be 20, you'll be 20, you'll be how old? 10 years from now. 22, and how old will you be? So 22, you're going to be already just about finishing university. You'll be still be in university, just the second to last year, and you'll be 19, you'll be just in your first or second year, right? But just suppose that you're able to work together and form an organization to help to name a planet or a new star in Africa name. Would that be fantastic? So why don't you write a story about how you started a space club at your school, and then you did something, you tell us, whatever, 10 years from now, you guys are getting a prize for discovering a new star. You can write a story? Write that story. You gonna write that story? All right. And so make up a name for your group and everything, okay? Huh? What you say? What is I do. University has labs here, but I don't probably share the lab. But it's good. The cat, the one who went to- Are the debate team online yet?
You're online, I've been online since.
Debate team online?
I don't know, I can't confirm, I don't know if you're online.
So you do a message, asking if they're here for the debate. In the chat, yeah.
Not responded. You've not responded yet. I've sent a message. My this my What's your name?
Hi. Checking in, everybody here. And here from the engineering team. Everybody here from the or anybody here from NSB or SJC? Please do a show of hands. Anybody here from NSB or SJC? Anybody here from NSB or SJC? All right, so we're going to pause our live stream and we'll be back when the when the workshop is done. When we're back in live, we'll pause our live stream now and be back when we're collecting information.